Hello everybody, this is Pitch Girl Black here, and welcome back to the 69th and final instalment of the Skulls General Reviews. Now, if you don't understand why I'm ending this series, check out one of my previous videos, The Evolution of Pitch Girl Black, as I'm going to be taking the channel in some new directions, I would have said, with the content that I'm going to be pumping out for you guys. And also a couple more things. This review will continue off of Underworld Update 85 Swan Song, as well as the Skulls General Review 61 Night of the Intelligence. So I will recommend watching those videos before going into this one. So yeah, I know I said episode 70 was going to be the last of the Skulls General Reviews, but with the way I have written and structured this review today, I feel like that the Skulls General Review 69, Lethbridge Stewart, The Daughters of Earth, will be a better series finale for the Skulls General Reviews. So I'm just going to cut it slightly short and end it at 69 with this review, instead of episode 70 on, I think it might have been the Showstoppers, Lethbridge Stewart, that I was going to review them. But either way, on to this book review today, which I imagine is going to be a bit of a lengthy one. So enough of my waffling, let's just get into this. So we have, for the cover, from the classic era of Doctor Who, Lethbridge Stewart, the Lethbridge Stewart logo, The Daughters of Earth, the author's name Sarah Groenewegen, forward by Una McCormack, and then for the cover itself, encased in this circle set against the sort of lilac theme all series 4 Lethbridge Stewart books have, we have the big house that the Daughters of Earth are operating from, sort of a sort of glint of space there, a corpse with one of the Daughters of Earth bursting out of it, big shrouded demon in the back there, signpost for Strathclare, Mountain, Lethbridge Stewart, and Corporal Sally right there. Yeah, very nice cover overall. And I actually have two different copies of this book. The second one I don't really have much explanation for, and that is this here. Basically, a while ago, I did a mass job lot order of Lethbridge Stewart books from the Candy Jar site, and within the first package from them I got these two books. So you have this copy of The Daughters of Earth and this copy of The Daughters of Earth. The only difference of which being that this one has a sticker on the front with sort of peace logo and flowers on either side with The Daughters of Earth in gold. Now, the book itself, the title explanation is that the Daughters of Earth are a peace movement, and from what I imagine, the Candy Jar was playing around with ideas for the title of this book and used a sort of peace sort of banner sort of design for the Daughters of Earth that gets mentioned in this book as a sticker for the cover. That's my only explanation for this copy that I have here of the sticker for the front. I have no idea how rare this book is, and I have only ever seen it one place else, and that is on the Candy Jar website itself. For the page they have on the Daughters of Earth book, they actually have a picture of the book with this sticker for the cover. So I imagine that this is the very copy that they used to put an image of the book up on the site, because I think I can tell that the Daughters of Earth title here was scanned. So yeah, I have no idea how rare this is. The only other picture I have seen this from is on the Candy Jar website itself, and I have seen no other traces of a Daughters of Earth Lethbridge Stewart book with a sticker title. So to my knowledge, this may be a one-of-a-kind book. I don't know on that, but it's a really interesting and unique and rare thing for the collection. For the spine of the book, we have the Lethbridge Stewart logo, Lethbridge Stewart, The Daughters of Earth, Sarah Groenewegen, Candy Jar, and then for the back there we've got Lethbridge Stewart and the signpost for Strathclare with the sort of spacey background there. Synopsis, continuation of the lilac stuff, cover by Adrian Salmon, visit candyjarbooks.co.uk, barcode UK 8.99, US 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12.95. 12. The Brigadier is such an integral part of Doctor Who mythos, it seems right and proper he now has his own series, Doctor Who Magazine. To celebrate Lethbridge Stewart's birthday, a romantic weekend is planned for him and Sally in a remote cottage in the Scottish Highlands. Unfortunately for Sally, freak weather causes her to crash her car. Lethbridge Stewart, meanwhile, is in Cairngorm, investigating UFO sightings. Elsewhere, the Daughters of Earth, a woman-only peace movement, are making waves in the political world. But just who is their enigmatic leader, and what links the Daughters of Earth, and what links the Daughters with the events of Cairngorm and Sally's incident? A series of novels from the classic era of Doctor Who, starring Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Anne Travers, based on the characters and concepts created by Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln. And then for the interior of this Doctor Who book, we have Lethbridge Stewart, The Daughters of Earth, based on the BBC television series by Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln. Sarah Groenewegen, forward by Una McCormack. Candy Jar Books Cardiff, a Russell and a Frankham Allen series 2017. Various copyright guff there for all us women who keep persisting despite being warned. And then they've got a forward by Una McCormack. And then here you've got a start of the book just here, with the prologue starting at page 1. This is a, let's have a little look here, 272 page long Lethbridge Stewart book, spread across a total of 20 core chapters, as well as a prologue and an epilogue. And at the back we have other books available from Candy Jar, Life of Aaron Evans, a Lethbridge Stewart spin-off adventure, Flaming Soldier, Day of the Intelligence, which is no longer happening, from what I understand, the Lethbridge Stewart quiz book, Grandfather Infestation, Times Squared, Blood of Atlantis, Mind of Stone, and Night of the Intelligence there. So, with the presentation of this Doctor Who book out of the way with, what is the general consensus and my own personal thoughts and opinions on The Daughters of Earth, Lethbridge Stewart by Sarah Groenewegen? As for the general consensus of this Lethbridge Stewart adventure, it has an average rating of 3.44 out of 5 on Goodreads, with what I would describe as fairly mixed reviews, handful of 2 stars, some 3 stars, and a collection of 4s and 5s. Do I agree with the general consensus of this book? Find out in this review. Books are a glorious thing. They have been embedded in my life for practically every second of it. This medium has been with me for a very long time, and it does mean a lot to me. I have read numerous books over the years, from my childhood favourite series being R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. It was at the turn of the decade that it seemed I had stopped reading books. I had read a few during the beginning years, but my love had appeared to fizzle out at around the year 2010 or 2011. I ended up returning to this glorious medium of entertainment during Easter 2014 with a reading of the Target novelisation of The Ice Warriors, which canoned my love for Doctor Who books and in turn a rekindling for my lifelong love of books. Since then I have read and reviewed numerous Doctor Who books, with this being my 72nd Doctor Who book review thus far. I have tackled via reads and reviews a great deal of what the world of books based on and around this TV show has had to offer. The Target books, Virgin New and Missing Adventures, 8th Doctor Adventures, Past Doctor Adventures, new series books, and much more, not forgetting the Lethbridge Stewart range of books. This is a range of books that started approximately 1 year after I started getting into Doctor Who books, and has since then gone on to become my favourite range of Doctor Who books. My favourite villain by far that the TV show has ever presented us so far has to be the Great Intelligence, featured in 2 stories from the era of the Second Doctor and a handful of new series stories, the latter of which I personally don't consider to be canon when considering what I describe as being the ultimate Great Intelligence arc, With regards to television, with a fan film Downtime appearing in the 1990s. I personally love this villain, as I think it's such a fascinating concept to have an extraterrestrial, interdimensional force breaking through into our reality and wreaking havoc by possessing people and creating robots to do its dirty work. The Abominable Snowman was an interesting start to this villain, with some interesting concepts and some stellar atmosphere, but a story that very much depends on what mood I am in with regards to if I'll enjoy it or not. It ended up getting a sequel slightly later on in a couple stories' time, with what is one of the most iconic Doctor Who stories of all time, The Web of Fear. One that I would say maybe a slightly bit overrated, but still one fantastic serial that more than deserves the recognition that it has gotten over the years, and I am very happy that it has been found almost in its entirety for a new generation to enjoy. With regards to what came in the new millennium of TGI stories, I personally think that the Snowman is good, but the rest isn't so. Personally, I don't consider this whole new reel and spiel of stories to be canon to what I would consider to be the master arc of TGI. The master arc, as I'd put it, being in order: number 1, The Abominable Snowman; number 2, The Web of Fear, and a trilogy of books from my favourite range of Doctor Who books; number 3, The Forgotten Son; number 4, Time Squared; and number 5, Night of the Intelligence. These 3 books being from the Lethbridge Stewart range of books, which I personally feel continue the legacy of TGI magnificently, with Night ending the whole arc on quite an emotional and almost heartbreaking bang. I think TGI was one of the main driving points of this whole series, with it being extremely prominent through it up until Night. Night of the Intelligence was the grand finale to this TGI master arc, as I put it. Not only that, it was the opening novel to what is the 4th series of Lethbridge Stewart: Night of the Intelligence, The Daughters of Earth, and The Dreamer's Lament. This book is the second in this trio batch of Lethbridge Stewart books, and very much picks up where Night left off, with Anne Travers still being affected greatly by what events very much moved her in Night of the Intelligence, with quite a few scenes and moments with this character reminiscing on what actually happened in this book. It is for this reason, if you are interested in venturing into this book, I would highly recommend experiencing the Great Intelligence Master Arc before venturing into this book. Yes, I understand that it's quite a bit to experience before this book, but if you were to read this standalone, you will have the big ending of said arc, and in turn the ending of Night of the Intelligence, spoiled for you. This book is quite an interesting read with regards to putting it in the greater context of the Lethbridge Stewart range. It is obvious that this book is pretty self-aware that the range has just shown the door to its main marketing point and the main villain, the Great Intelligence, with the character of Anne Travers very much being this book's vocalization of its own acknowledgement of this fact. Not only does it appear that Sarah Greiner-Wegin is very much making this a turning point in this series, being the book chronologically after the complete and utter end of the Great Intelligence series, with what I mentioned in my previous paragraph, but she is also very much experimenting with the whole stigmatic nature of the series, implementing interesting and new concepts that, to my knowledge being the readings of The Forgotten Son, Time Squared, Night of the Intelligence, The Grandfather Infestation, The Life of Evans, and this book, the range has never tackled beforehand, being the politics of cult and a much more grittier approach to the overall book than what I have previously experienced with this range with regards to the grit. Example, the opening scene is a car crash involving Corporal Sally Wright, who is later then found by the Daughters of Earth and has to get a stitch in her forehead, with descriptions of blood not only appearing then but as well during the car crash. This is not the only mention of our ever so important red fluid in the book. It is also mentioned during quite a brutal murder partway through the book. The plot is overall one of the most interesting and creative that I have ever encountered in a book. The Daughters of Earth being a woman-only exclusive peace movement, being being the primary focus and title explanation of this book, with a layer of UFO mystery in the Scottish Highlands near the base of operations for this movement being added, making this a book that I would describe as being a crime, sci-fi, mystery, thriller type of novel. I had not really encountered anything like this beforehand in a Doctor Who book, which made this one of the most captivating, engaging and compelling books from this world of Doctor Who so far. I was enjoying this so much to the point with the general plot and premise of the book, and partway through reading it I was thinking, my god, could this be the very first 10 out of 10 from the Lethbridge Stewart range of books? It was truly an amazing and epic experience. Many wonderful character moments, many great characters, as well as so many other amazing things being thrown into the mix. The UFO sightings, Corporal Sally being tied up with the Daughters of Earth, the mystery surrounding the movement, Lethbridge Stewart trying to figure out what the hell happened to Sally, a certain fungus discovered by the Daughters of Earth being a very nice reference and or homage to the two Patrick Troughton Yeti stories, not to mention the incredible atmosphere the book had as well as the fantastic cliffhanger to the epilogue, which makes me very curious about where the contents of this cliffhanger is going to go or going to amount to in future Lethbridge Stewart instalments. It is safe to say that this was a book that I just loved, absolutely adored. Reading the synopsis, I was thinking that this book didn't sound massively interesting, but I was still willing to give it a go. I wasn't expecting too much out of it, but I ended up coming hugely surprised at the end of the day with some of the most interesting and amazing moments and concepts from a Doctor Who book I have read to date. So you're probably sitting wherever you are, listening to me ramble on, thinking that I just fucking adore this book. So, is the rating a 10 out of 10? Is this my very first 10 for my favourite range of Doctor Who books? Sadly, no. This book started off as being absolutely amazing, pretty much top 10 Doctor Who books worthy material, but that came to an abrupt halt at around the 200 page mark, where the book just becomes an almost inconceivably disappointing mess. What I would say is around the first 180 to 200 pages are just amazing. However, when it hits at around this point, it just becomes a very ill-conceived mess. Sarah Groenewegen just seems to forget that we are humans that need things explaining, and throws so much in your face, with so much seemingly left up to assumption, with the connection between the Daughters of Earth and the unnamed aliens having near enough no explanation whatsoever. So much happens in the last 70 odd pages of this book, it is unbelievable. The last chunk of this book is just a rushed blur with next to nothing explained, and so much left up to assumption. It's truly unbelievable what a fall this once great Goliath of a book had towards the end. Overall, this started off as a Doctor Who book that I didn't expect much out of, but started to surprise me enormously with it being one of the most compelling novels I have ever read. But then it just completely fell off the map towards the end, after so much promise and quality following beforehand. I can't help but draw comparisons between this book and Stephen King's The Tommyknockers, because from what I've heard, the first chunk of that was excellent and the latter being terrible. Same thing with this. The Daughters of Earth is an instalment to my favourite range of Doctor Who books that start off as being quite possibly the best to the range as a whole, but ended up being what is quite possibly the biggest disappointment of a Doctor Who book I have ever come across, read and reviewed so far. I am truly shocked by how much of a mess this once great book became towards the end, and I am so disappointed to the point where I don't think I can even accurately describe how disappointed I am with this book overall. So, with all of that being said and done, and with quite a sound mind and heavy heart, I am going to be giving Lethbridge Stewart, The Daughters of Earth by Sarah Groenewegen, a 5 out of 10. This was the final episode of the Skulls General Reviews, and my 154th video across both that series and Underworld Updates, and in turn being the last one out of all 154. In the future, come 2019, I hope to be delivering brand new series for you guys, with the channel focusing on highly edited critical content. Thank you all very much for the support on these past two series, and I hope that these have set the foundation for much greater things to come from the channel. Thank you all very much, and goodbye.